Good morning. Thanks for joining me. You're really welcome. So let's take a comfortable seat. Sit in a chair, sit on the ground, whichever works for you. Either way, see if you can have a sense of a long spine as you sit, so you're really supporting yourself. And then notice the weight in the hips, in the pelvis, so you're sitting tall over the hips. And then have a little waddle in the pelvis just to feel into that space. The sitting bones anchoring into whatever you're sitting in. And then from here, close your eyes. Notice your breath. Just let the attention move to your breath. And as you become aware of the breath, notice what else is there for you this morning. Just how you're feeling, how you're doing, possibly what's around you, the space around you. Just notice, be awareness. And although at times it doesn't feel like it, this is a practice of kindness. This is a practice of self-care. And this is a practice of self-love. And the more you do it, the more you realize that and you feel that and you know that. When we take this time to step out of our day-to-day, out of a lot of the ways in which we just get caught up in the grind, and we pause and we notice and we breathe, and yes, that can be uncomfortable, it can be a little tricky. We get to meet corners and kinks that are difficult to be with. But it's also this process of meeting something more beautiful within ourselves. Something that we sometimes forget about, sometimes that the world is often too busy to remind us of. And we're, in a sense, reminding ourselves. And in one sense, it's not that we have to do anything other than stop, other than pause. Because the idea that we are beautiful, we are complete, we are full, we are worthy, these are all intrinsic to what we are. They're innate to us. This is what it is to be a human being. And yet, our journey, each of our lives, is a process of remembering that deeper truth. And as a very wise friend of mine said, you know, we come in with, you could say, with broken bits. We come in with work to do. So in the yogic tradition, we talk about this idea of karma. We come in with work to do. Ways in which we have created or taken on, in a sense, a disconnect from ourselves or a covering of ourselves. And that our lives are these invitations to rediscover. So in Sanskrit, this phrase, maybe it's the most, certainly for me, the most used Sanskrit phrase, nish prapanchaya, that which was never absent, nish prapanchaya. That's our whole practice. And really, the key to the practice is kindness. The key to the practice is kindness for me, for my understanding of how this yoga works. And this tends to be somewhere where most of us struggle to be really kind to ourselves. And quite often, you know, in our day-to-day, you know, some of the ways we take it easy on ourselves is not necessarily kindness, but these practices of meeting ourselves, of meeting ourselves, of meeting ourselves. And we learn to listen to the deeper place that knows how to really truly be kind, how to truly care for ourselves. And the more we are able to do this and to listen to this place, the more we're then able to be in the world in a way that can do that for others. That can be kind to others in a way that is a win-win. And this is really the way life is designed to articulate itself. When we're moving in the direction of the deeper voice, it's always a win-win. It's always a win-win. So as you pause here, as we begin our practice, and our eyes are closed, and we're just noticing, you're hearing my voice, and you're aware of your breath. You're noticing how you're doing, what's in there for you. You don't need to work it out. You don't need to understand it. Just asking you to feel what's there. And it might come up as I feel good. It might come up as I feel something uncomfortable, and somewhere in between that maybe. And just to acknowledge it, none of it is good or bad. It's just what's here for this moment. And it will shift and it will change as everything does. And we're learning to meet this deeper space. We talk about this in terms of the eternal nature or the absolute nature of being. And we're watching the relative experience, the part that is shifting and changing. That moment-to-moment awareness. And then to assist this, we're going to begin to focus a little bit more intensely on the breath. And I want you to begin to breathe a little bit more deeply. So you're inhaling for a count of 4, and you're exhaling for a count of 4. These slow, deep, steady breaths. And if you find this difficult, particularly if you find it difficult, this is where the gold is. So I encourage you to stay with this. Sometimes we practice yoga that moves the body a lot because it kind of scratches an itch, in a sense. That we get so used to moving and being busy, yoga becomes just another way in which we're doing that. But these practices of just beginning to stop really open the floodgates, in a sense, bring us deeper into ourselves. And inevitably we're going to meet pockets of resistance, pockets of discomfort, wounding, holdings that are just, we just don't want to meet. Part of us doesn't want to meet them. But as we sit and we breathe and we become present to this moment, however it might be for you, I guarantee you this is where joy, abundance, wisdom, compassion, kindness live. And they might be hidden under a rock, they might take a little bit of work to uncover, but this is how you find them. This is how you find them. If you can, inhale for 5, exhale for 5. If it's too much, stay with 4. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stay close to your breath. And we just stay with the breath. And the mind will want to wander and jump over to something else. And then be kind to the mind as you meet it somewhere, as you become aware, and you gently bring it back to your breath. Stay with your breath. And this is a practice of unifying, of bringing these fragmented parts of ourselves back together, back into a deeper connection to this deeper part of ourselves, this ever-present, ever-connected, ever-aware, ever-compassionate component that is designed to filter through, to permeate every part of ourselves. So we just notice the breath, we just pause, we breathe, and we're allowing a resettling. And all the parts of us are designed to weave, they come together. They fit perfectly, but it's so easy for them to be out of sync. And it's, in a sense, not by doing anything we bring them together, it's by stopping, it's by pausing, it's by allowing, it's by kindness. Stay with the breath. If you feel like you can go a little further, inhale for 6 and exhale for 6. And again, if it's too much, stay with 5. If that's too much, stay with 4. Keep coming back to the breath. Now, as you're breathing, if you feel like you could go deeper, I want you to go to the deepest breath you can take, comfortably though, that you're not forcing it, not straining. So a sense of filling the lungs, but again as comfortably as you can, or we could say with as little effort as possible. So a breath you can sustain, and that might mean you're not going to change and you're working with a breath that works for you. Perfect. Stay with the breath. We're going to move soon. Long, deep, steady breath. Stay with your breath. Every part of the breath similar. You're not forcing any bits or overworking on any bits or letting any bits pitter out. That there is a uniformity as you listen to the breath. As if the inhalation and the exhalation were making a full circle. Stay with this breath. And then after the next exhalation, let the breath come back. Let it come back to its natural rhythm. And we're going to open our eyes and we're going to come onto our backs. But what I'd like you to do is get yourself a few cushions. Have a few cushions close by that we might use them as props through some of the practices. And then we're going to do a supported Shavasana, which means that we're kind of holding the spine up a little as we rest. So grab a few cushions or pillows or something that's easy to find close by, maybe a blanket, and then when you're ready, come onto your back. So as you come onto your back, we'll keep our knees bent initially, and we'll take the hands and just rest them on the lower belly and letting the elbows drop down to the floor. Close your eyes and become aware of your breath again. But notice the breath this time underneath the hands. Just the gentle movement that happens in the belly as you breathe. Let your face relax. Let your jaw relax. Let your tongue relax. Let your eyelids get heavy. Just notice if there's any tension in the body that you could possibly release. Just scan your body and notice. Perfect. Bring the two legs together. Take the left leg, cross it all the way over the right leg. Move the right foot a little bit to the left. Move the hips a little bit to the left. And let the two legs begin to tilt toward the right. And as the legs are twisting over, you might feel like you want to put a cushion or something underneath the legs, probably that left knee, to support them so the twist doesn't feel like it's a struggle in any way. And then when you get to wherever you get to, just bring the attention back to your breath. And could you imagine that you're breathing into wherever you notice the most tightness? Long, deep, steady breath. If you can breathe through the nose, do that. Stay with the breath. You'll find as you pause and you breathe, the body, the nervous system will begin to decompress. Pockets of holding that you maybe weren't even aware of come up like bubbles to the surface of water and then just release. And it's you gifting yourself this time that supports that release. Perfect. Okay, we're going to bring the two knees back now. We're going to keep the left leg on top. We're going to move the foot over to the right a little. We're going to slide the hips over to the right a little. And then we're going to tilt the knees over toward the left. Again, you might want to support the legs. So although there might be an element of discomfort to the position, there's also a sense of being able to soften a little here. Again, you're breathing into any tension you're aware of. Perfect. And we won't spend as long on that side. We'll come back, uncross the legs, hips come back to center. Little waddle, just a little feel into the hips when the 2 feet are on the floor. And then bring the legs together. We'll cross the right leg on top. Very same direction we went in a moment ago. We walk the foot a little to the right. We scoot the hips a little to the right. And we let the legs tilt over toward the left. And again, feel free to put something underneath them. Go to whatever feels accessible and sustainable. When you get there, breathe. Breathe into what you're meeting. Inhaling and exhaling. And you get to observe the body slowly decompressing. So ultimately our body becomes a more comfortable place to live, a more comfortable place to inhabit. Couple more breaths here. Perfect. Okay, we're going to bring the two knees back. Again, we're going to keep the right leg on top. We scoot the hips back to the center. Now we move the foot and the hips over to the left so the legs can begin to slowly tilt over to the right. You go to whatever feels accessible. Never about being in pain in terms of sharpness or intensity. Some discomfort, some tightness, sure. Breathe into what you're meeting. Inhaling, exhaling. Let the body drop. Okay, let's come on back again. Take your time, move slowly. Uncross, 2 feet on the floor, hips back to center. Little waddle feel into the pelvis just to notice. A lot of us have, tightness, instability around these parts of the body, so we move sensitively. Let's bring the soles of the feet together, let the two knees drop apart. Again, if this is sore in any way, you can either support the legs with cushions or just simply don't do this. Wait it out. Okay. Come back to the breath. Stay close to your breath. Okay. We're going to bring the two knees slowly back up. And then I'm going to cross my right ankle over my left thigh. My right ankle over my left thigh. Okay. And then just that right foot that's off the floor, just move it around a little. Just feel into it. Move the toes. You can move the foot in circles. Just feel into it and you'll feel the relationship between the foot and the ankle, shin and calf. Okay, let that foot relax. Now, the foot on the floor, feel into that, and the toes grip the mat. Now, without moving that left foot, pull it towards you without moving it. And I want you to notice the movement in the pelvis. And the hips begin to tilt, the arch in the lower back gets deeper. I want you to press your bum down so you've got an arch in your lower back. I want you to try to keep that, and if you lose it, which is to be expected for most of us, if you lose it, we'll build it again as we go a little deeper. We're going to hold the back of the left thigh with the two hands, means you lift the left foot off the floor. Interlace the fingers behind the left thigh. The right arm threads between the legs to grab the back of that left leg. Now, again, what you'll notice is the belly shortens, the lower back flattens, the hips tilt. So, bring that left leg shin to horizontal. Imagine the 2 feet are on a wall. Now, we're not going to move, but as your toes grip the wall, I want you to imagine you're pulling the feet down the wall without moving them. Try to find that engagement in the body. And as you do it, can you feel the tilting in the pelvis again, the arching in the lower back? You're pressing the bum down. I want you to see, can you keep a little arch in the lower back? And then wherever you're noticing tightness in the body, could you imagine you're breathing right into that space? Stay with the breath. Okay. Now we release the hands. Left foot comes back to the floor. We'll keep the right leg where it is. So the left foot hits the floor. You walk your left foot a little to the right. You move your hips a little to the right. You drop your two legs over to the left. So the right foot, sole of the right foot ends up on the floor, right knee pointing up toward the sky. Very simple. If you find your left foot doesn't go, or excuse me, your right foot doesn't go all the way to the floor, pause, no big deal. Wherever it ends up is perfect. Please do not force. Now, the right foot stays where it is. The right knee, the top knee, just gently begins to tilt away from you. So it begins to create or give you access to the tightness you're carrying in your right hip. The moment you notice that, I want you to pause and breathe into that right hip. Long, deep breaths. Let the shoulders relax. Let your face soften. Anywhere that doesn't need to be working now. Perfect. Now let the top knee relax. And then we're just going to slide that right leg foot over the left leg to slowly bring us back, all the way back. 2 feet on the floor, hips back to the center, 2 hands on the lower belly. Just pause now. Close the eyes. Notice the breath. And just feel what's shifted in the body. You notice the way that right hip feels a little lower. Okay. Left ankle over the right thigh. First thing is we move the left foot around, move the toes, feel. Stay aware of the breath as you're moving. Okay, pause. Foot on the floor now. Again, without moving this right foot, grip with the toes. Pull the foot towards you. Notice the movement in the hips. Press the bum down. Feel the arch in the lower back. Now, bring the right knee in a little. Hold the back of the right thigh. If you find it's too far away, you could use a belt to hold the back of the leg. Yeah, so there's different ways of doing it. Now when you get there, pause. Just see, can you let the body relax a little bit. Lift the right shin so it's horizontal. Imagine the 2 feet are on a wall. The toes are gripping the wall. And without moving your feet, you're pulling them down the wall. That gives you access. It creates a chain reaction from the feet through the legs into the hips. Bum is rooting, arch in the lower back is deepening. You're breathing. Just breathe into the work. Breathe into the tightness. Stay with it. You've got this. For 3, 2, and then for 1. Release the hands. Right foot comes to the floor, left leg stays where it is. I move the right foot a little to the left, I move the hips a little to the left, and I let the legs drop over toward the right. Sole of the left foot's either on the floor or facing the floor if it doesn't come all the way down. Left foot stays where it is, left knee, top knee, begins to tilt away. And the moment, that first sense of the tightness in the hips. So this is the practice, what we call krama, or order, in which we meet this discomfort. Quite often the mind likes to jump ahead. So you take the first step. and you wait, and you breathe, and you notice. Soften the face. Where are you holding that you could let go? For 3, 2, and 1. Okay, again, soften. And you just lift that left foot, slide it over the right leg to slowly bring you back, bring you back, bring you back, bring you back. Hips back to center, a little feel into the hips. Now we just pause again and we notice. Notice how the weight is distributed through the 2 sides of the pelvis. So one of the predicaments of not feeling safe, and this is the holding of the sympathetic nervous system, is that whole hip area just tightens. And in the tightness it becomes unstable. So our practice is just an unraveling. Okay, right leg slides out along the floor. We'll bring the left knee a little closer. We'll hold the back of the left leg again. Okay, now left shin horizontal. Little bend in the extended leg, in the right leg. Little bend. Okay, so you got the right heel on the floor. Now, same work the feet did a few moments ago. The toes, feet, imagine they're on a wall. The toes are gripping the wall, and without moving anything, I want you to try to pull the feet down the wall. So you see, can you press the bum down and feel a little lift in the arch of the lower back. Now, keeping the lift in the lower back, take that foot, that left foot up. Take it up to wherever it goes to. And you can look at the foot as you move it a little. Spread the toes, you can tilt the toes towards you and then up to the sky. Move the foot around. And you'll notice all of that holding from the foot through the leg. And just breathe as you meet it. In one sense, although it might be uncomfortable, it's a pleasure to meet because you're beginning this process of unraveling and opening and getting these different parts of the body to communicate and, in a sense, almost become alive again. That's it. Okay, so keep the leg up, bring the right hand down onto the right thigh, slide the left hand to the inside of your left leg, to the inner thigh, press the left hand and leg together, slowly, slowly now, tilt the left leg slowly toward the left. If you feel the weight drop over to the left hip, you've gone too far. So I want you to keep weight on the right side also. It means you probably won't go very far with the leg. Now breathe. Breathe. Perfect. Now we're going to bring the leg back up. Now take the arms down, take them wide. Now bring the left leg over toward the right. Now, it doesn't matter how far you go, but maybe you get to horizontal with the leg. And then whatever you're meeting in terms of tightness, tension, resistance, as before, breathe into it. Breathe into the twist. And then we're going to lift that leg back up, 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 and release it all the way down. So the 2 legs are extended and the 2 legs relax. No work in the body. And as before, again, feel. Just notice. Notice the feeling, notice what's changed, notice your breath. Okay, bend the right knee. Lift the foot, bring the knee closer, hold the back of the right thigh. Okay. Right shin horizontal, little bend in the left knee, just a micro bend. Work the 2 feet. They're on an imaginary wall, the toes are gripping the wall, and you're pulling the feet down the wall as you press the bum down to find the arch of the lower back. Maintaining that, take the right foot upward. And begin to slowly move the foot and the toes. Feel, be curious, observe, meeting yourself, meeting the uncomfortable places. Okay, leg stays up, left hand comes down onto the left thigh, right hand slides to the inside of the right leg, slowly tilt the right leg toward the right. Now don't rush. A lot of the time the head, the mind just wants to get it done. Go slow. Go slow. If you notice the left hip lifting, you've gone too far. Couple more breaths. Okay, we're going to bring that leg back up. We're going to take the arms wide and we're going to bring that right leg over toward the left. So we're kind of rolling toward the outer edge of that left hip. Go to whatever feels accessible, sustainable, and breathe. Breathe into the tightness. Okay, let's bring that leg back up and release it all the way down. Let everything release. And again, just notice the body, feel it. So we're in this process again of unfolding, and as we do that, things just begin to come back into balance. They begin to resynchronize. There's a movement of energy and information that moves through our entire system that begins to work properly. This heals, rebalances, clears out, cleans out, supports vitality, easier access to the kind of states of presence, awareness. Perfect. Just a few more breaths here. Okay, let's bend one knee, foot on the floor, and then the other. 2 knees are bent. Walk the feet a little further apart, and kind of double hip width, and then let the 2 knees just drop in together. Now, you might find you want to move the feet so you're more comfortable in this position. 2 knees are kind of heavy, resting on each other. And then just close the eyes here again. Just pause here. You can have the arms wide, you can bring the hands back to rest on the belly, whichever feels most comfortable. Get close to the breath again. So whatever your number was when we were breathing, were you breathing for 4? Were you breathing for 5? Were you breathing for 6? Choose that number again and come back to that breath. Slow, long, deep breath. Stay with this breath. After the next exhalation, again we'll bring the breath back to its natural rhythm. And as you do that, let's walk the feet in and the knees out. And we're going to roll over to our right side. Now, as you roll over, you have a pillow handy. You might want a pillow for your head. And then, or you might not. You might just want to let the head drop down to the floor. The knees are about the height of the hips, and the feet, that'll tend to want to be back closer to the bum. You bring them slightly forward so they're, let's say they're in line with the knees. The legs are at right angles. 2 arms right in front of you. 1 hand resting on top of the other hand. Close the eyes. Notice the breath. Very simple practice. Not forcing, not straining. The movement is to slide your top hand forward along the earth to whatever feels accessible, enjoying the stretch. Then to slowly lift the arm upward, and as the arm is moving, the head is rolling, the front of the chest is opening toward the ceiling. You let the heart open toward the ceiling. When you notice your head's not moving anymore, don't move the arm anymore. Then with the hand on the floor, feel the knees. If the knees aren't stacked, you've gone too far. So you got to bring the top knee back so it's stacked, and that's your boundary. Now you can pause there for a few breaths if you're enjoying that twist. You can breathe into the twist. And then Slowly come all the way back, letting the two hands reconnect, everything resting, everything resting. Now, can you weave the movement and the breath together with a sense of the breath leading the way? So one possibility, as you exhale next, slide the hand forward. As you inhale, float the arm up, let the head roll. As you exhale, let the arm release behind you. Remember, keeping the knees stacked. Enjoy the stretch. Breathe into what you're meeting. When you're ready, inhale the arms up. Exhale them back together. Let everything relax. Breathe. When you're ready, go again. Slow, steady, fluid movement, no rush. It's all in the movement, not the destination. Keep the hips stacked. When you get to your final point, just breathe there. Then slowly let the breath lead the way as you come up and back. Let's go one last time. We just do 3 on this side. Remember, we're keeping the hips stacked. Go to whatever's available. You might notice your body has shifted from the first time you've done it. Breathe into the tightness. And then let's slowly come on up and back to where we began. Again, when the hands reconnect, just pause, let everything melt a little. Nice. And then in your own time, we'll come back onto our backs and we'll roll over to the other side. Take your time. Remember the alignment with the legs, that kind of right angle. Almost the feeling of sticking the bum out a little, so you've got that arch in the lower back. A lot of the work we did with some of those previous poses. As you get into the position, just pause and settle and notice the breath again. And then let the breath lead the way. Slow, steady. Hips stay stacked, knees stay stacked. Enjoy when you get to the place you get to, pause and breathe. Slowly we'll bring the arm up and back to where it began. And again, breath leads the way. exhaling to the beginning. Last time, in your own time. Breathe into any of the tightness. And then when you're ready, inhaling, we'll float the arm up and exhaling, bringing it home. And again, as the hands reconnect, just for a moment, pause. Okay, we're going to come to hands and knees. We're going to come to all fours. Take your time. And on the hands and knees, close the eyes. Just really simple movement. Fluid, comfortable, easy. Breathe, notice what's there. So just feeling the body. Super easy, super simple. Move the shoulders a little, let the hips sway. You can move the neck and the head. And you feel all of that work we've done now just lets the body come home, lets it come back to its more comfortable place. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to come up off the hands, and what we're going to do is we're going to organize our cushions, and so get your cushions and I'll show you how to set it up. Okay. So I've got 3 pillows here, and I want it so that I'm going to keep my hips, my bum on the floor, and I'm then supporting myself so my head is slightly higher than my heart. And this is the way we're going to move into our Shavasana. So I bring the lowest cushion closest to me, and then the next one slightly further away, next one slightly further away. And I get comfortable. Now, you can have the knees bent like I do. You can extend the legs if that's comfortable. The game is get comfortable. You might find you need a little bit of more support for the head, so you can fold the top cushion under so it feels like it supports the head. 2 arms either side of you, palms facing up. 3 deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Every exhalation, you sink into the cushions, you sink into the earth. deeper breaths move fingers and toes. Just notice, really simple. And then really slow, really easily, we're going to bend one knee and then the other. And we're going to maneuver onto our side. Now, it might mean you come all the way off the pillows. You might feel like you want to stay on the pillows. Just get comfortable and then come back to your breath. And then slowly maneuver yourself back to sitting. Close the eyes and bring the attention back to your breath. Relax your face, relax your belly. So our practice is decompressing ourselves, soothing the nervous system, creating a sense of ease in our systems. And that cultivates a deeper quality of acceptance, a deeper quality of allowing, where we allow ourselves to be here, to rest, to be still. We allow the moment to be as it is. And the fight, the internal fight that is so often or sometimes there for us, it's like it quenches it. That our natural state, when we are really being kind to ourselves, when we are taking this time to care for ourselves in this way, our natural state is one of deep acceptance. Allowing ourselves to be fully human, fully here in this moment, and letting the moment be as it is. We bring the hands together in front of the heart. So we ask that our practice allow us to feel this quality of acceptance, self-acceptance, acceptance of the moment, of the world. It doesn't mean that there's parts and things we don't want to change or do, but underneath it there is this deep, abiding quality of acceptance. And in a sense, it's like being able to meet the moment with a yes. A yes to life, a yes to the isness of the moment as a starting point. And take our hands to our forehead, to our lips, and then to our hearts. And then to ourselves and to each other, that we might be separated by physical distance, but we are together. So to each other we bow. Namaste. Good work, well done. So thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that. And if you want to pay, you can do it through my website, Michael Ryan Yoga. And I wish you a great day. I hope you have a good day. And I'll be back here on Wednesday for another class. All right. Blessings. Oh, do you know what? One thing. I thought I'd read before you go. If you haven't got this book already, it's beautiful. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse. And I thought I'd leave you with one little snippet of wisdom. Do you have a favourite saying? Asked the boy. Yes, said the mole. What is it? If at first you don't succeed, have some cake. I see. Does it work? Every time. Take it easy. Have a good one.